Welcome, everybody. It's Christ169 coming to you with another upload and another live stream. If you're watching this now, if you're watching this later on down the line, you're watching it whenever you can. Need your time. I thank you for inviting me into your home, your bedroom, your apartment, your living room, your car. Hope you're not driving. You're watching this. Hope you have your friend put it on Bluetooth and you can listen to it as you guys are driving to work or whatever, or just driving around with friends, whatever, and or just whatever you're doing. Um, I hope you guys are being safe out there. And this is present. This is the now, present, and future, because past has already been passed. So let's get on to it now. Now today's topic, today's video, or today's live stream is going to be: will there be another gaming crash due to all the bad games launching? And I really didn't have time to go into a gigantic launching, or it could be more launching, or just bad companies releasing bad games. We had a gaming crash, guys, but most of you guys who are on my channel may not know. But back in 1983, I was only 2 years old. I was born in 1981 in November, so I'll be 42 here within about 2 months. That being said, though, that being said, well, all that being said, though, the gaming crash happened because there was oversaturation. A lot of bad games, and to clear the air, it wasn't because ET and the whole damn thing went to hell. No, it wasn't. One game didn't do it. Granted, ET didn't help. Okay, ET did not help the gaming crash of '83, but it wasn't just ET and the whole thing fell apart. That's a convoluted cop out bullshit thing. I'm hearing from people all the time who have no clue what's about. If you want to know about a little gaming crash, what really happened, very simple. Type in on your YouTube search bar, type in G4 icons and type in crash, gaming crash, I'm gonna call it, and it will bring up the whole video. And I watched this back when it came out, when G4 was actually about somewhat, Tech TV was about something. G4 was a byproduct of corporate greed, but Tech TV was a very cool channel until Viacom, Comcast, ruined it for everybody because they just miserable people, suits and ties, and that will cause the gaming channel crash. Is that corporate greed? Same thing called the gaming crash, 1983, corporate greed. Um, that being said, though, and what happened was the gaming crash happened because multiple companies got into involved. When Activision won their case, and yes, Activision was around back in dinosaur in the 80s. They were a publisher. They're former Atari programmers that went in and created Activision and started making games. Now, this is a side story of this situation. When Activision started making games, Mattel, Purina Dog, Purina Dog Food, uh, many different companies got in and started making games. Even people who had no clue how to make games, bought cartridges or little game packs or cartridges, went home on their computer, made games, put them together, assembled, went to a local gas station, a little shop down the street, and sold them, and probably paid $20, maybe $10, $20, $40, whatever, and gave the shopkeep probably $10. Say it has happened. Now it doesn't say this in the gaming historian, gaming crash, or G4's icons gaming crash, but there's been reports that people who have made games in their own bedrooms sold them in gas at local gas stations and gave the shopkeep, the manager, about 50% of the sale, so they made money. And but that too was bad because bad games. Now maybe they tried the hardest to program the game they wanted to make, but they didn't have the understanding of the heart. They had the heart and desire, but didn't have the knowledge to actually make a game work. The game back then, if you've seen 2600, it's a game. It's literally just some lines and dashes and some noises. It's not a whole lot there. It's not a lot of thrills. Not like Call of Duty or Battlefield 2042. No, it ain't that defined. Your imagination is like Hulkamania back in the 80s. It ran wild. and it better run well because without imagination, and of course, us being little triangles saving the galaxy from little broken blocks of asteroids, we thought we were saving the galaxy. But that be as it may, though, that be as it may, be that as it may, we played the games. And people were getting burned left and right. And then at the end of the day, the gaming crash happened in 83. December of 83, it just went totally down the toilet. So bad that, a company like Mattel and Hasbro were trying to get out of the gaming company. And they're losing their shirts. And they started selling their stuff at discounters. And one example, Johnny Dad goes to Christmas time, buy kid one game, $40 to buy him, 10 games for $5. I'll buy his 10 games, have more gifts to wrap up Christmas this year. That's pretty much what parents didn't know back then. And parents don't know to this day, but parents are a little more included because kids are a little more included when it comes into it. But back then, no parents knew about this stuff. They didn't know about graphics and Empire Strikes Back is being made by Mattel, but it's crap because Atari has the knowledge, but Time Warner, who bought Atari, didn't want to spend, let's say, $50 million just for a game to shoot and blast Imperial Walkers, even though it could have made them great money, or Indiana Jones, or James Bond, for example. And eventually, the weight of it collapsed the whole industry. And of course, we all know, Mario came back and saved the day, and everything is hunky dory, or is it? Now, with the bad games coming out now, with the launch of bad games having issues, consoles having trouble getting out in the stores. We had the whole COVID-19 thing. Well, we had all that crap. We had the scalpers. We had the gaming rig. We had all these people, right? All these problems, right? All these problems here coming up. All these issues with the game industry. The game industry was making billions of dollars. In the 80s, it surpassed movie revenue, and it still has to this day. There's games out there that sell billions of dollars, Call of Duty, things like that sell $1 billion revenue, more than any movie can ever dream of. Okay? And turn around 30 years later, 30, 40 years later, we're at a crossroads again. Are we going to cross that road and find the game industry has crashed again? Is it going to crash because games like Redfall, you might love Starfield. I played on Game Pass, it's a great game, but it's not optimized. Battlefield 2042, a cluster F of the game. Took 2 years to get operational. Halo Mastery Collection took 3 years to finally get going. Okay? How about Halo Infinite? A waste of time. How about a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2? Another useless entity. These companies, people think they're helping gaming, but all they're doing is damaging gaming. They're causing people to leave. And how many 80% of Call of Duty people said, you know what, I'm not playing games anymore? Let's say less than 1% or 1% of that. Okay? So you have close to, say, 50,000 people saying they ain't playing games anymore. Let's just say that hypothetically. That's not 10% of 80%, but, whatever. Back in the 83 crash, it happened very suddenly. It rolled out slowly, but when the crash happened, it just went completely down. And it happened just like that. Just like that. There was no warning about it, no nothing. It happened. As fast as you can blink, it went down. And that right there needs to be a wake up call to every gamer out there that is accepting Redfall, accepting Starfield, Battlefield, Call of Duty, the Halos, the Gears of Wars, racing games, all these games that come out broken, and even indie games. You're accepting all of these games. You're putting everybody else at risk of losing the thing that they love to do Maybe they have no lights out on the wall. Maybe they have no lives, and they can't afford to go out and go to the club or go to the casino or go to Dave and Buster's every weekend. And all they have is the game rate they got. They save the money up, and they like enjoy playing games, or the case may be, or maybe the antisocial people that live in the real world. Whatever. The fact of the matter is, guys, is this: gaming is the expression of someone's self, just someone just like music. Okay, people want to go out and have a good time. Don't go out and have a good time. Go out and be fun. People don't want to go out and play games that are broken and take 6 7 weeks just to get a patch. Starfield, guys, is not a it's not a home run hit. Okay, being unoptimized as it is and having issues, and they're finally adding DLSS means you'll be able to have somewhat of a resemblance of a game that runs decently. So then I'll probably play more of it when DLSS gets activated. But this should not be the case. We should not be having this. We shouldn't be having games that are coming half baked and always with all of these problems. It's like, when does it stop? Do we have to inject poison into what we love to kill it? To finally people to understand, hey, you know what? We need this doing over again. But I don't think if game industry dies now, it's gonna come back. I don't think because no, there's no Mario jumping off of a Goomba gonna call him come back. But I don't think it'd be a total crash like it was back in '83. I think companies will probably go out of business. Microsoft will probably pull Xbox and get rid of it. All those jobs are gone. Sony will probably close down their Sony PlayStation thing, and they'll probably go out of business because they don't have much to hold them up to anyway. So essentially, you have two companies dead, and Nintendo will keep on chugging along making Mario. Granted, it'd be a better market for them because those make whatever they want, and you have to buy it. It's like the '90s where they made whatever game you wanted, and you didn't like it. Guess what? Sega didn't do much for a couple of years until they finally started making some common sense decisions and rubbing brain cells together. But Nintendo was still king back then. I know. I had an NES, Super NES. I understand. You know, but that was been a different situation. But the gaming industry collapses today is going to have a lot more destructive, because the movies like Mario Brothers and a lot of these movies like Uncharted, or even like X-Men, you had games came out way before the movie did, and comics of the movies of the games. Okay, so what happens if the games are not there anymore? How are you gonna make a movie on Uncharted when the Uncharted franchise is gone because the game industry collapsed? So I think it affects a lot more than just games, folks. I'm not saying that we have to sit there and just don't buy a game when it's broken day one. No, things happen. Okay, fine. When they push action and they create the game, they're creating the movie, and it works fine in their studio or their developing studio, and they press release to the masses, and it breaks down. Now who's gonna know? But they have to have testers and people who stress test these games. Starfield should have been run through a lot more ringers than it was. Starfield should have been pushed back to at least October 6th. Yes, it would have sucked, but you know what? An extra month in the oven, and DLSS added, like, oh, we're joking with you guys, we're going to add DLSS, and they could have been better off. Then the game probably would have sold even more. But right now, people ain't buying that happiness right now from them. Okay? And you guys have to understand this. And it's really hard to understand that games like Starfield, can have so much problems, and yet, and yet, and yet, still be successful and fun, because people are looking at the company Bethesda, and they made a hit. Yeah, it had issues. People might have returned it on Steam. If you got Game Pass Ultimate, you played it and you don't care. Like me. But people gave Bethesda a chance. I think that's awesome. But how many more chances, Bethesda going to have at the Apple, especially Redfall? Redfall didn't hit the bar very high. Practically hell, the bar was sitting on the ground. So all Starfield had to do was just walk over the bar. Bam! They created, or raise their foot up a little bit. Bam! They just created a major, AAA home run because the bar wasn't very high from Redfall. What I've been hearing from it, the game was not winning any award except the most crappiest waste of time award. But that was something that that people found out. So they could have the bar dropped on the ground, and it would have made no difference because Redfall was so bad. All they had to do at Starfield, just walk over the bar, bam, they created a hit or raised their foot above the bar because the bar was so low. But how many times are these Redfall games going to come out? The Battlefields and Call of Duties and the Redfalls and the Doom Eternals had issues and all these games that are fun to play and the Gears of War and the Halos. How many more games gonna come out until people say, you know what, enough's enough, we ain't buying this anymore? Granted, we have awesome game consoles more than the Atari 2600 or ColecoVision. Granted, or Gemini, very awesome, very true. But also you have to understand too, though, these consoles should be leaps and bounds above the rest. Shouldn't be no damn trinkle. We should have games coming out that will excite, silent, and excite your mind and in your gameplay. But we don't have that here. All we have is a broken game. We have to wait for patches later on. And gamers are okay with that. And gamers are okay waiting for patches later on. So I think if crash happens, I think if a gaming crash happens, a real big one, many companies will be out of business. The game industry go back to probably around 1990 version, where Nintendo is king and Sony is pretty much non-existent. Microsoft making processors, and that is it. Because I don't think that Microsoft's going to lose 4, 10, 20, 30, $50 billion on something collapse. And all their companies they bought go right down the damn proverbial toilet because nobody wants to understand about recent games that are working. Launch day one with perfection. You don't see movies coming out in theaters buggy and issues. Well, you guys pay for it now and come back tomorrow. We'll have it working. They will literally be throwing sodas and popcorn at the at no at the no at the no movie theater staff. Okay, you don't see. Okay, well, guys, we're gonna give you 10 minutes of the movie. You come back next month and watch the other 10 minutes of it. That doesn't happen, or half of it, or have it all all scrambled. You have to pay an extra $2 more to watch it scrambled, unscrambled. They don't work in the theater business, in the movie business. Granted, they're on strike right now, so ain't much to do right now. But the point being, guys, the point being is this. Okay, and this needs to be said. The game industry needs to take heed for what's going on with the motion picture strike and the auto worker strike. These people out there are striking, and people who may not be striking could be losing their jobs eventually. So if these people lose their jobs, they have no job, no check, and they want to buy a $70 piece of crap that doesn't work, they may not buy games for a while. That has to be addressed too, folks. You can hide behind your stuff and say, "Well, Christ, you don't understand." No, I do understand a lot more than people do. Because I was born in '81, I grew up in the mid and late '80s and all through the '90s, and I read about it. I played the Atari 2600 when I was somewhat cognizant of games, and I read about that stuff. I thought it was very fascinating that that industry that I loved back then, even to this day, collapsed. Civilizations collapse and come back. Civilizations don't collapse and come back, folks. but the game industry did. Now, when it collapsed, it had its own ice age, where it was way different than it was back in when it first started. And I think that we may have a second collapse. We may have a second collapse in the service because all this games of service and all this subscription crap and apps and all their garbage. Look at look at cable. Okay, look at the cable industry. Look at them. ESPN being pulled off Spectrum cable servers, and I have YouTube TV, but when does it happen to them too? Granted, Google has deep pockets, but how deep can Google Pocket have? The same with the game industry. If you're buying all these games on these high-powered consoles now that are pretty much slow mid-range computers and gaming rigs, and you have to have all these apps to play a game, it's kind of hard to justify spending all this money if you're going to be paying all this money for these apps you got to pay to as well. You got PlayStation and Xbox, and Xbox has raised up their prices, and I'm going to make a video on that, separate video on that. Just found that out a couple days ago. Okay, but I'll make a video on that here eventually. Probably next week or two, I'll make a video on that. But this is what's going on, folks. This is what goes on in the world today. When we don't pay attention, games get released that are garbage and we buy it anyway and we accept it. We shouldn't accept this crap. We shouldn't be having to go. We should be coming together, forming a nucleus, marching in the streets, demanding change. People marching in the streets for abortion rights, gay rights, normal, and traditional family rights. The price is right, but no one marched in the streets for gaming rights, for game companies to be held accountable for their lackluster performance in games and charging us $70 a head per game. If it's cheaper to buy digitally, then damn it, put digitally for $50. But they're not going to do that until we say, you know what, we're not buying this game digitally or physically until you developers, you manufacturers, you companies that own this stuff start talking turkey. You want $70 games? We want $70 worth of DLC for free. What we want is $70 free. We want expansion packs blown out of our ass. What we want is to have open worlds. We go to a mirror, look in the mirror, and there's a damn freaking mission popping out of it. I don't care. Flush toilet in the game, and you get XP for taking a whiz. Whatever. But you know something? Then that way you don't have to worry about it. And you get in your car and Battle 2042, she got damn 10 points XP for doing that. If you're gonna charge us this much damn money for these games, then you gotta make it where we're gonna have a fun experience. I mean, games come out 100%. None of this patch, 80% of it and 20% later on. No, 100% or nothing. That's what needs to be, folks. Okay, and the game developers just don't understand that, or they think or we think we're that stupid, or do they think that we're that stupid that we'll just accept anything that they say? And most of you out there are going to be on the keyboard saying, "Well, Christ, you don't understand that the devs, the devs are working hard." Bullshit. I call bullshit. They ain't working hard. Most of these people don't even know what game they're creating until they see it at E3 or some damn conference. We need to stop making excuses and form up, man up, and be a part of the situation and stop this infighting with each other about what game console's better. Because it didn't matter if you play Battlefield on a PlayStation, Xbox, or PC. The game was broken. Three ways from Sunday. It was literally damaged. Didn't matter what it was. That, folks, is the truth. If you don't like my point of view, I really don't give a damn. Because I'm trying to come to terms with this and understand this, and I can't. I cannot understand how people will literally fight Everybody, and we had 2013. I give it 2013. We had a great time. The Xbox came out with DRM stuff. We said no. When we marched in the streets. Now, DRM now is accepted and embraced. Slowly, surely, they got what they wanted. We let our arms down. No, put our arms away. We didn't man up. We didn't fight. We just, oh well. And then, and guess what? And that what happens. So now we have, DRM far as the eye can see. We have everything being downloaded with 10,000 downloads. 'Cause you have to download everything. It's just even if you bought the disc, all you bought was a Glory Flight installation disc. It has to install the game, has to install on the damn freaking hard drive anyway, or SSD anyway. So it doesn't make a difference what you buy. But if you buy the game digitally, games should become cheaper digitally. So you buy them digitally for convenience. But if they're gonna charge the same amount of money, I tell you this: if it's broken on launch, don't buy it at all. Just sit there. Even though the game you want to play, your wallet burn the hole in your pocket to go burn the money. Just hear me out. Hear me out. Just don't buy it. If Starfield you saw a review ain't good, don't download it from Game Pass. Don't buy it on Steam. Wait until the game is fixed. Don't because you already gave money with Game Pass. But if you're gonna buy it on Steam, don't buy it at all. Let's sit there and wait. Wait for a sale to come out and buy it. But that's my video, guys. I really hope there's not another crash. But then again, you never know. Once again, guys, like, subscribe, notification, ring that bell, and you guys know when my video comes available. I thank you guys for being here with me, talking, take time to listen to my video, watch my videos. And also, I got 500 videos down below. You guys can watch anything you want to in leisure. Have a good day. Peace. Be safe. Love. Peace. God bless all you.